Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Kira the doll, back for yet another video. So as y'all can see, today we're going to be talking about this Auntie podcast show that airs on Zeus. And this week's episode featured Miss Netta and Charles. I thought this was a really good topic to talk about just because it was a lot of T's clocked in this show. And I just felt like a lot of people are talking about Miss Netta and Charles right now. And this show just kind of opened my eyes to this dynamic. And yeah, let's just get into it. So a lot of people say, just from watching Miss Netta and Charles, that Charles seems a little off his rocker or, a little bit delayed mentally. And it seems like Miss Netta is, wears the pants in the relationship and has Charles in check. But after watching this podcast, I feel like it could be the complete opposite. Because, baby, Charles was very agitated this whole podcast. And it just gave a very uncomfortable feeling. Like, I feel as though the aunties were uncomfortable. Netta was uncomfortable. And even Charles was uncomfortable. It was just like the veil has been lifted, you guys. So first things first, it feels like this is Toni's show. It feels like this is her show and Tia and Carlissa are the background players. And like Tokyo just gives like a dog marking their territory when it comes to this show. Like she wants to be reigns all. She wants to be the center of attention and she kind of takes over the show always. We can obviously see how this season is going to go. But not only that, but she doesn't really care for Carlissa. So, the last episode, she was just looking through Carlissa's soul. But this episode, she was more calm towards Carlissa. But once Carlissa opened her lips to say that the internet been saying that she resembles Miss Netta, Tokyo was fast to hop on it. She said, yeah, you do. And Tia was just looking at Tokyo like, Tokyo, she don't look like that woman. And I feel like it's disrespectful because Miss Netta is obviously a grown man. And not only that, but Miss Netta and Charles went viral for their controversial look. For you to say that they look alike is very rude and disrespectful. I feel like, okay, they may resemble, but come on, let's be so for real. That is a man and that's a woman. They don't look that much alike. And not only that, but if they do look alike, Carlissa is the way prettier version. And I'm not saying it to be mean about Miss Netta, but let's just be so for real right here. Whoever came up with that was obviously trying to be funny. So anyways, I noticed Tokyo was doing a lot to hype Netta up. I appreciated the love, but I couldn't tell if it was genuine. But honestly, I just want to see Tokyo hype up another woman in that same manner. So as it's starting, Netta and Charles are talking about how they met. And they apparently met on Tagged, which is a dating app. Which sounds about right because I done been on Tagged before. And I wouldn't recommend Tagged to anybody. Because the men on Tagged are the bottom of the barrel. Just like what we see right here. Charles. These are the type of men you're going to find on Tagged. Honestly, from the beginning of the podcast, you could just tell Charles was uncomfortable. From the beginning, I feel as though Charles possibly felt attacked with the way they ran the show. They're all talking over one another. And they joining on each other. They all kind of making fun and making somebody the laughing stock. That doesn't excuse the way he acted later on in the show, but I feel his frustration as far as, if you go into a room and everybody's trying to make something to be funny, you're not going to like when they making something you're doing out to be funny. I feel like the main one who was trying to do that type of stuff was Tia. And of course, Tia had to be the one to point out the faja that Charles is wearing underneath his shirt, which we can all see, obviously. Pretty much, his shirt was a little too tight. Then they get to asking about his six-pack. Charles looking at them like they crazy because they mistook his 8-pack for a 6-pack. And about this time of the show, you can tell that Charles seems very agitated with the questions and pretty much the whole relationship with Netta too. it's like the questions that they were asking basically pertain to Charles cheating, Charles creeping, etc. And they kept going on and on and on about it. And I feel like that was starting to irritate Charles, because it's like he has to try to prove himself. But for what? Like, what did he ever do? Which I haven't really did much research on them, but I've seen a little bit here and there. But it's just like they're not really coming with no facts. They just coming with accusations. In this episode, I feel like Tia starts to show her true colors, because in the beginning, when I first started seeing her online, people were saying that she was bitter and all of this stuff, and I didn't really see it that way. I just seen her as being funny. But after watching this episode, she seems a little petty, and she definitely doesn't act her age when it comes to, well, she doesn't act mature when it comes to conflict. Like, she'll argue you down instead of being like, all right, it's not worth it. You know, what are we arguing about? She gonna try to clock every T, like, just immature. Tia then mentions Netta's, accusations of having fake bags. This is where the conversation starts to go south. Netta claims all celebrities don't buy real bags, which sound a little suspicious to me. If your bag fake, just say that. But it seemed like Netta is trying to keep up with the Joneses and appear to live a lifestyle that she simply can't afford to keep up with. The fake bag situation leads Netta into a whole rabbit hole about why she chooses to wear fake bags, which she basically claims is because she wants to keep people talking. I don't know why, y'all, but I smell cap. So anyways, Netta goes through Charles' phone to prove to the aunties that Charles isn't a cheater. And basically she's saying she would know if he was cheating. But the thing is, on live, I've definitely seen Netta get jealous if Charles even says hi to another woman. These two seem like they have a lot to prove. Then Tokyo continues by saying they look good together, and Tia chimes in saying, don't put all your trust into Charles. I feel she has a point. Not only that, but sometimes other people can see something in someone that we can't see. So maybe this is just that type of case there. But at the same time, I feel like Tia went really far with basically embarrassing the two. Keep watching, y'all, to see how. So Charles continuously cuts the whole panel off to direct the conversation to allow him to talk. He comes off very controlling and insecure even. Nobody really even stops to listen to him still. Probably due to the way that he attempts to get respect, which is in a very abrupt way. Then Tia continues on with her very personal question. She asks who's taking a D, which was honestly a very insensitive and rude and unnecessary question. I could finally agree with Charles and Netta with this answer as to who do you think taking it. Carlissa says as well, Netta obviously got eyeshadow on. It's just like, all right, y'all really dragging it. It literally went from genuine interview to embarrassing conversation really quick. Tia's true colors start to show in this episode. She is very blunt, though in this bluntness she comes off rude sometimes. She asks, do you not think he wants some warm cuckoo sometimes? Which is pretty offensive because they're a couple. So why are you basically, it's almost like you want to break them up. Tia basically claiming that Charles isn't happy with Netta. And it's like, I feel we can all sometimes see that. But the way she went about it, it was very, it was just rude, and it left the couple in a defensive mode. So then they start talking about their plastic surgery that they got. So Netta got a breast lift and a BBL, and Charles got lipo, which left me to question. I was confused. What breast was being lifted? By this point, Netta and Charles are very defensive. Honestly, Charles pissed by this point. We can't even say defensive. He pissed. So this is around the time Netta admits to being more afraid than Charles than he is of her, because they're talking about how Netta got Charles shook on the internet. This basically causes the aunties to raise red flags for Netta's safety and instinctually start to defend Netta. Netta tells them she don't need their help, and she admits to playing a character online, which most of the time we can obviously tell they're playing, which is why some people just didn't believe they were an actual couple. It's just showing Netta is hypocritical and almost a compulsive liar, because she went from saying everything is real to saying everything is staged. Now the aunties don't know what to believe. Netta says the fake part is the arguments, and she says she really doesn't have Charles punked how we thought. Everybody wants to know cheating questions, situations, and possibilities. By this point of them bringing up these cheating allegations once again, Charles gave them that look that he be giving Netta when she getting on his damn nerves. And I just now peeping, Carlissa got on pajamas, y'all. So now Tokyo want to know about inside their bedroom, which is very weird because this is two men. Why do you want to know about inside two men's bedroom? And you're a woman. But anyways, Tia asked Charles, was he down low before he got with Netta? And Netta said he was straight. And honey, that man been like this, so they clock his T once again. Tokyo said he was never straight, which I believe. You don't just change like that and get to a 6-year relationship with a man if you were straight before. He obviously had relations with men before, but this is his first relationship with a man. Tia asks, is Charles an opportunist? Opportunist, my bad. And I believe he is because he obviously don't like Netta the way that Netta like him. Charles can't stand Netta. That's just the vibe that he gives. And that's an indication that he doesn't like her truly because he likes her just for the benefits that comes with dating Netta. Tokyo then still wants to bring up the fact that Carlissa looks like Netta, and Tokyo want to act like the game ain't say that she look like the Lady Gremlin, which she do. Anyways, then Netta asks, well, who is Carlissa? Netta said she didn't know who Blueface is. It felt like an argument this whole podcast more than anything. Netta and Charles admit to fake paparazzi sounds in their videos. These two are full of you know what. They literally are swearing that Charles was straight before Netta, which is obviously untrue. Carlissa then tells Charles don't argue with her before she exposes him and he end up in the streets. I don't know what to say, y'all, but you don't play with people's livelihood like that. But at the same time, as a man, you shouldn't depend on anybody else like the way that Charles depended on Netta. Netta claims every man she been with were straight men. And obviously, Netta lies to herself about these things because these men are obviously not straight. Netta is not turning anybody out. I feel like it literally just has to do with men more so are not always comfortable with expressing their sexuality. You know how that goes. Y'all, but why Netta wigs start coming off? How embarrassing. Tia literally wants to pry cheating allegations out of these two, which leads Charles to tell them to shut up and listen. This when the conversation goes south, but real, y'all. They've been talking about cheating from the moment these two got on stage. If they said no, what more are they expecting by asking the same question a million different ways? I don't feel like it was okay for Charles to say shut up, but I honestly understand his frustration. However, he did come onto stage with that stink attitude to begin with. Now, by the point that Charles says shut up, the auntie's going off. Now, here come the abuse allegations. Netta even backfires and telling them she don't need their help. Charles, after saying shut up, he literally just says one sentence and sits back like what he had to say was that important. It's just like, you did all that just to say one sentence. However, this sentence was about cheating allegations, which the aunties were dragging. Charles basically saying at this point, he taking over the show. He the uncle. The aunties are telling Netta to watch out for Charles. So then they asked Charles, has he ever beat Netta? And he said he play slapper, but no actual fighting or beating. I don't know how much I believe this, especially with his demeanor on the show. Because Charles just acted so mean. He acted like a mean person on this show. So you can only imagine the type of attitude he gives to Netta at home. And especially with Netta saying she's more scared of Charles than Charles is of her. Something don't seem right. Then we also learned that Charles is still working his 9-to-5 job, which is honestly good. I give Charles a round of applause, y'all. Clap it up for him. Clap it up. Because, you know, that's not like your average opportunist. But anyways, Netta continued by saying, it's always single women hating on their relationship. Like Tia, she's single. And she the main aunt claiming that Charles is no good. Tia continues by saying, don't trust no ninja, no. No. I agree with Netta, though. Don't inflict your insecurities on another couple. Tia says Charles is very aggressive, which he is. If I was there, I'm not going to lie, I would have been nervous because of his energy and the way he is. You honestly don't know how far he would take it. Tia tell Charles to shut up back. And Charles asks who the F she talking to. So it shows his short temper. That's definitely a man you don't want to play with. He the type to get mad even if you joking. Many people were uncomfortable this episode. Tokyo says, next time he tell you to shut up, smack him. Charles says he wouldn't do that if he were her. Then, here come the allegations about Netta bag. Because Netta bag lifts up. When Netta bag lifts up, Tia and Carlisha start laughing. And they just like, that's not how those bags come. So we basically know they're fake. And, then they say that Charles' shirt is fake too. So it's just like, it seems like this couple is really trying to keep up with the Joneses. And they're really trying to appear for social media to be one way when they really are not. And I even seen that live with them arguing with their manager. And it literally just seemed like they weren't even really, like, all they were truly mad about was the fact that the manager exposed that they didn't have the money to do everything that they wanted to do. So Netta, it seemed like she really does not like that. She does not like being exposed about her financial situation. She does not like to appear to be poor or, lower class. Which is like, it's not nothing wrong with that. You have to love every part of your journey. You have to love the struggle. You have to love the hardships. You have to love growing through that to be able to get to where you want. And it's nothing wrong with faking it till you making it either. But Netta really does not like for people to clock her tea about her finances not being where it's supposed to be. Because even in the show, they said, are you guys making six figures? In which they reply in a very defensive way, like, yeah, we making six figures. So it's just like when it comes to finances, these two really want to appear, not just finances, but even success. These two want to appear to be doing very well, which is nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, they bite off more than they can chew. Now, as far as the aunties, how I feel about Tia, she's definitely entertaining. I enjoy watching her, but I feel like she definitely has some growing to do. She definitely has some maturing to do because, y'all, she was ready to fight Charles, y'all. Tia was ready to hop over that table and fight. Tia was ready to say, all right, meet me outside, put your dukes up. Like, she was ready to square up with Charles. And Tia, baby, that man will knock that man will knock you dizzy. Do you see how big he is or how small you are? Tia. Every battle ain't worth fighting. And not only that, but Charles is obviously, like, I feel like people who are not the smartest get mad faster. And Charles is one of them people who is not the smartest. So one of his first emotions to resort to is anger. So that's somebody you can't really argue with. And if by this age you can't realize that, baby, everybody ain't worth fighting with and arguing with. Now, as far as Tokyo, the last episode, I wasn't really digging her because of the way that she was treating Carlissa and acting towards Carlissa. But honestly, this episode, she was still being a little shady towards Carlissa. But I feel like she was the one who gave these two the most respect out of all three of the aunties. So I can give her kudos there, because at the end of the day, you guys are supposed to be interviewing these guys and y'all was really just picking them apart instead of interviewing them and really trying to get to the bottom of stuff. Like, they were just clocking their T's, and Tokyo was the only one I really feel like gave them some of the respect that they deserved. Now, as far as Carlissa was just happy to be there, y'all. Then lastly, I will say Netta. She surprised me as far as she held her composure. If anybody would have snapped, I would have expected it to be Netta. Because on the internet, Netta comes off as very, hostile sometimes and mean and fast to, anger and snappy. So, I was proud of the way she held her composure and gave these ladies respect too. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Thank y'all for watching. Leave comments down below. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode. And yeah, what other type of videos you guys would like to see, what type of shows I should tune into. Just let me know below. Stay engaged. Yeah, and thank you guys for watching. See y'all next time. Bye.